Hello, everybody. Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit, calling you from Seattle, right here in the West Coast. Last week, we chimed in from, we were in Sarasota, Florida. And this week, we're back into Seattle, the West Coast. So it's 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Central Time. It's 1 p.m. for everybody who's having a great bite to eat Monday. Beautiful day here in Seattle, just so gorgeous. And we have some great guests for you today. I want to talk to you about a few things. We've been working on a few things with our clients and our guests, and we've been speaking to a lot of salon owners and beauty professionals. And I'd love to speak about a few things that are going on in the industry. So I would love to hear from anybody who's coming right in. Where are you coming from? So if you just want to put in where you're from, it's going to have a little delay. We're using StreamYard, and so you have a little delay until I actually can read it. But my technician, my sidekick, my partner is not here with me today. So it's all on my own and my guest today. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. Thank you for joining me. Each week we come together here because we bring amazing and special guests to bring inspiration and business ideation, business success story, motivation, right into this screen. We want to help you take control of your business and have control in your career. So if any one of you thinking, I want to change a few things in my life. Yes, I want to reimagine how I want to lead my life. You might be thinking about, I've been 3 months reevaluating how I was doing things before and how I would love them to be. That is why we're here for. We're here to support you, bring you some great stories, some great people from the industry, but also outside the industry, marketing expert, brands experts, financial wizards experts. And I can't wait for you to meet our guest today. But before I bring her on, I would love to let you know that next week we have a very special guest. And we might even have 2 people on that call. Aldous Collins is a singer, but he is also a philanthropist. He is an amazing human being, and he is going to be a different diversion, I would say, for our show. We're going to talk about singing, and we're going to talk about the art of doing the things that you love, and how philanthropy and how singing and how writing songs completely changes life. So we're going to share with you some amazing moments. I would love for you to join us next week. Don't forget to come in. So for anybody who's coming, hi, Bill. So good to see you back on. And today we have a very special guest. Yeah, really good guest. She is an international education platform for Olivia Garden. She's an artist director for Joico. She's a guest artist and top of, she's a mover and shaker. She has a celebrity artist, and her name is Sherry Petenbrink. But, and sometimes I butcher her name because it just doesn't work in my English words. Yeah, right? There she is. Welcome to
everyone. Wow.
I do want to say one thing, Sherry, before you come in, that I know Sherry for many years. And what's an amazing about Sherry is just me sitting here in this kitchen or in this our own place, our own studio in front of you. It's just so comfortable. It's so amazing. She's so inspiring. She has been a guest at my salon. She's been over the years an inspiration for me and for many, many people, traveling around the world and sharing her magic and her knowledge and her expertise of how to build a successful team with inspiring education. So I can't wait to share you with the world today. So welcome, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know I'm looking in the camera and I'm like, is my part straight? I don't think my center part is quite perfect, but hey, that's okay.
It's not about perfection, that's for sure. Look at that. There are no parts here.
It's okay.
So how you been, Sherry? How's life? How's life for you?
It's been great. It's been a big adjustment. And as somebody pointed out on our quick little Instagram live, we've all had to adapt. And I think that's been the difference between, people successfully navigating through this trying time or people not being able to navigate. It's just your ability to adapt. And I think for me, as a military spouse, as a military dependent, my father was also a career military man. What ends up happening is, I'm always moving and I'm always reinventing and I'm always making new friends and adjusting and adapting. So for me, this kind of, wrench that was thrown into the career and the industry, I just sat down and said, okay, how are we going to navigate through this successfully and make it work?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I know that you mentioned that your background is military. How being a daughter of a military guy affected your career? In what way?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I was raised, as a military, what we call dependent, meaning that my father was career military. And, interestingly enough, I think all of the moving and the constant adapting and learning how, again, to navigate through new places and all of that, that I feel like was a big strength for me. I hear different stories from different people, but in my case, I feel like it made me very adventurous. I love adventure. I love to conquer. I love to, have that moment of uncomfortable when you say, like, I'm going to take this down and I'm going to make it work in my favor. I think a lot of that, I'm a people person. I can watch a room and scan a room pretty well and get to know what's going on pretty fast. And then, I was also a military spouse for 20 years. My husband and I have been married 33 years, and 20 of those were spent in the military, active duty, moving around with their children. I feel it made them very well-rounded.
Oh, for sure. I love talking about military. It's a commonality,
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years at the IDF, the Israeli army. So
yeah, I was just going to say that you probably had your turn. Yes.
Oh yeah, and it was a great experience. It was probably set my career pretty good. But I would say that we have a lot to talk about. And let me put my red glasses back on. We have a lot to talk about. You've been a celebrity stylist and worked on really great sets with a great actresses. I can't wait to dive into that and talk about that. You've been working for brands for a long time, but you were creating brands for a long time. You had your own salon, very successful. You had over 20 employees, and you pivot from that. You sold your business, you moved to another thing. So you had a lot of different insight into the business. You wear many hats. And in a way, I feel like my friend is sitting in front of me. We share so many things together, and I can't wait to even discuss your next move and how exciting it is. And for anybody who is joining us, you just really want to hold on to your chairs. Now, here's the thing. The thing is that I want to start with these questions, as we're all coming back into working, and we're working, so everybody is already had 2 weeks to maybe even 6 weeks in the working, but we're still zigzagging. It's still not the same, and it's not going to be the same. Wearing a mask and not touching people is a very big adjustment. And yes, we need to adapt to things. But you were you travel all over. You've been in Japan, you've been in China, you've been in Hong Kong. The culture over there is very different. How can we adapt to that type of mentality thinking in our industry? Because you've seen it, salons down in the Far East, that they are actually, that's their culture. The culture is not touching. The culture is mask. Mm-hmm. What do they do to warm up the relationship and to be successful in a touchy environment?
Yeah, I believe that in a lot of other countries, the way that hairdressers are viewed is it is on a little more of a professional level. So it's very important for the stylists there to stay true to that culture. So they take it very serious in that respect as a business, right? It's a business. It's a business transaction. The clients are there for a service that you are providing, and it's a relationship built a little bit different than like in the Western world. You know, here we become friends with their clients. We're out at happy hour with them. We're all having a great time. You know, so it's a little bit of a different culture from the beginning. And so I think that's part of the difference as well. And I certainly don't think everybody should adapt to, you know, an environment where suddenly we're not the friends with our clients and our guests and all of that. But it is just a little bit of a different setting to begin with. And sometimes I think that setting kind of just set it a little bit, it sets the scene a little bit differently.
I think it's healthier. I think it's healthier.
It can be a lot healthier. So again, a lot of our clients are going to be our friends. They're going to be our neighbors. They're going to be, you know, whatever. But I think in a lot of ways, there's that professional relationship that has to be there. And the separation can sometimes be very difficult. I found when I lived in Los Angeles, being a much bigger city, the clients that I had were not my neighbors, really. I mean, I had a few that would sprinkle in that I met at the bank or, you know, at a local little hotspot restaurant or something like that. But for the majority on referrals, I would have people commuting from other parts of town. I wasn't running into them at the grocery or, you know, at the mall and things like that. Like when I worked in Georgia in a smaller town, I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, every event I was doing consultations. My husband refused to go with me. He's like, "You're going where?" "No, thanks. I'm staying home." The kids wouldn't go with me because they knew it would become like all work. And suddenly, you know, everybody was wanting consults or when can I get an appointment or look at this or do that or you know, or compliment my stylist, that one of the team that did their hair, something like that. So again, that culture, it's very different geographically and demographically, I guess.
Absolutely. I think people don't realize that there's only a few hours in a day. There's only really a few hours. It's never going to change. We have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, total of 156 hours in a week. So the choice is in 156, what do you want to do with your time? Because time is something that we cannot buy. And it's the most valuable thing that we have. And I think we realized that when we were in COVID, that we gotta come out differently.
Right.
So if you end up sleeping at night, let's say 8 hours times 7, you know, already you have a big chunk of time taken out of your 156. So what do you do? What do you do with the other hours? What do you do with the other 100 hours? What do you do with them? Do you really want to develop friendship relationship with your clients? Do you really want to go out for drinks with them? Why are you doing that? What is the most important thing in your life? I'd love to hear any comments there. Do you really want to spend the time with your clients on a friendship base, or do you want to look at this more as a business? You know, and have really more of a profound business and life balance and work balance.
Yes. And I think you brought up a very important point, Ronit. It's so important that you have that balance. And sometimes that's very difficult in the types of relationships you build. Again, certainly you might have that client that you click with, that you could definitely go on vacation with, or go out on a girls' night once a week or whatever. But I don't think, and for me personally, that would be my ideal situation with all of my clients, because your work then becomes also your free time and your entertainment. You then get to know all of the problems that they're not already sharing with you in the chair, which is sometimes already too much, right? So I do feel like that balance is so important. And I think in order to keep that professional separation from your, you know, your personal life, it is a fine line. We get invited to weddings, we get invited to graduations, we get invited to baby showers. It's like, at what point, where does it end? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's going to become about work. You're going to go to the baby shower and you're going to be, "Oh, she's my hairdresser. She does amazing. Look at my hair." Well, thank you for promoting me, you know, but at the end of the day, I maybe not am building a new clients, and maybe, you know what I mean? I don't want to be there as, you know, doing business and having now suddenly to be out there promoting my business and promoting the services. I want to be there to enjoy myself and have a few mimosas.
Exactly.
So it doesn't work out, is what I'm saying. It's not always optimum.
Yeah, you got to become a professional. I mentioned before when we were on IG, I mentioned before, you know, when a doctor's graduate or a lawyer graduate or a plumber, you know, we all professional, we all provide services and we all work for our time. So, you know, when you get out of there, do you think that the doctors builds relationship, that the plumber builds a relationship? But for some reason, our mentality is either let's do hair in the kitchen, let's do give something for free, or let's go out with our client. And you know, while this could be good, again, how many hours do you have in a day? If you work 8 hours to 9 hours in a day, what do you want to do with the other time that you have?
Right. And how many of us have had, say, a plumber come in to fix a toilet and said, hey, you're pretty cool. Let's go out for a drink Friday.
Oh, that will be perceived in a whole different way, right?
I mean, after your appointment at the doctor, you're not like, wow, I'd love to do brunch on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, if it's cute, I might have to consider that, but I don't know.
Hey, Krista.
Oh, hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Bill. Everyone. It's just like a big, a little socializing for us when we do these lives. It's nice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, we spend a lot of time learning. We spend a lot of time giving our expertise, and I want us to think as an expertise. So, Sherry, how do you become that professional? I mean, do you have to have experience of 5-10 years to have the attitude, I am a professional? Or do you actually can have this mindset right from the beginning?
I think it's important that right from the beginning for the new stylists coming into the industry that they understand those boundaries. I think it's a great boundaries to set. And if you've been in the industry even 20, 30 years, I think a lot of times you learn the hard way. And if we talk to people who've been around in the industry for 20 years and we say to them, you know, oh, you move salons, a lot of times what happens, they're looking for a new environment for so many reasons. We're going to talk about that later because I know that's one of the questions you want to bring up. But the point that I wanted to make there is that a lot of times that's the problem. You've become so friendly with the coworkers and so outside of work with your clients that it all just becomes this extended family that you can no longer differentiate and keep that balance of where you want to spend your time and how much time you want to invest in your career. Because then it suddenly becomes like your whole world is your career and there's no break and there's no, you know, navigating out of it.
Oh, and I love that you bring it up because if I could ask a question, each and one of you, and thank you, Michelle, for saying that these lives are so amazing and you're learning so much from them. I'd love, Michelle, let me know, what are the number one thing that you're learning? Like what has impacted, in what way we impacted you going back into the world and making a better life for yourself? That would be awesome. Bill, anybody who can send us some information on that would be so helpful. But I want to talk to you guys about this. You know, I asked Sherry a long time ago, and for anybody here, if you could design a perfect week and a perfect month in your life, whether you are 20, 25, 35, 50, 60, I don't care, what would that week look like? You know, how many hours of this week you would be working? And if you're working, what would you do? If you're a salon owner, do you want to work behind the chair? Yes. Okay, great. How many hours? If you are a beauty professional, how much do you want to work from behind the chair? What is your inspiration? What gets you so excited? What would be a perfect week now that you enjoyed home, family, friends, yoga, videos, education, the good things in life? If you could create a week, what would it look like? So Sherry, share with us, what would be your perfect week?
Yeah, so a perfect week for me, honestly, we've got to have, there's balance is so important. And I think for different people, there's going to be different balance because obviously you have people that are single, that aren't raising children, that, you know, they have two careers. Sometimes they're doing both. They have two different jobs. They love them both. They don't want to give them up. They feed each other, all of those things. So I think the real important thing to say is balance. So what works individually, and for me, I prioritize my top three. What are my three priorities in my life that I need to have balance in? Then you can take those hours minus your sleep hours, because those you just subtract from the beginning. Because to me, that's a priority. So sometimes you will only get 6 hours or 7 hours. Sometimes you might even get 9. But whatever your average sleep would be, whether it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, those hours have to be put away immediately. So then it comes down to, we have to pay our bills, right? And we maybe have a spouse that it's very important we keep a good relationship with. We have children that still need nurturing, still need us there and guidance. So those three priorities then to me become where that balance happens. The leftover hours are then spent on other things, whether you're sitting and binging on a Netflix or whatever. I like to take 1 to 2 days a week that I have nothing planned, where all of the priorities just go out the window and you just live the day for what it is. So again, balancing it that way. But we have to have a return on our investment. So for everyone, that return is going to look a little different and the investment will look a little different. So for me, it's that perfect balance of my top three priorities, which would be, personal, family, and career. Those are my three priorities, because if personally I'm not getting a return on the investment personally, none of the others are going to matter. Yeah. Because if we're miserable and unhappy and overworked and stressed and whatever, we can't even begin to relate to the other priorities. And that would be, my family, because without family, for me, that's just number 2. And then career would come number 3, because it has to fit in. And for a long time, like you said, I was on the go, and I missed that. Don't get me wrong. I hope the day comes that I can get back to doing this jet-setting world travel and stuff like that. But I will rethink how heavily I book myself, because I realized, I thought, my kids are grown. My husband has a demanding career of his own. I need to just be busy all the time. What else am I going to do? Just sit at home? Well, little did I know there was a lot that I could be doing to feed my soul and get a return on investment.
Absolutely. And you know what? Here's the thing. The thing is, we can all design the life that we want, and enjoy doing what we're doing. And being in the industry and doing a lot of what you've done. You've been a celebrity stylist. You've been working with brands. You've been developing brands. You had your own salon. So, we've all been there. The bottom line is, guys, is whatever you want to do, you have to create that worth. And this is the worth. If this life that you want to lead worth to you, working, say 50 hours, as working, whatever you might be doing, maybe traveling, maybe this, remember, it's all about hours. And what is that hour worth for you? So put a price on it and say to yourself,
price on it.
Put a price up, and don't put a price to pay your bills. No, put the price of what does it look like that week and that month in dollars, and what do you need to do to get there, and when do you want to get there, and so does it all come to an hourly cost and an hourly profit, an hourly margins? Are we right about that?
Mm-hmm. I think at times it's true. I have to say, I've had several experiences in my career that people thought they could buy my time. Oh, I need this. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm busy. Well, I'll pay you double. I'll pay you triple. I'll give you this. I'll do that. I've been offered $1,500 blow dries. Sorry, but I had a grandbaby being born in Hawaii. I was there visiting, waiting for the baby to come, and a celebrity client honestly wanted me to get on a flight, fly to LA on a nonstop. Oh, first class, of course. Do their hair and turn around and we'll fly you right back. Well, right there is 12. It's 12 hours any way you look at it, 15 probably. So, and that's getting off the plane, straight to the house, straight to the airport, straight back. So no in-between time. What about going through customs, going through, the agriculture checkpoints in Hawaii, all the waiting for you, your bag and checking in.
It's just not worth it.
It's not. I'm not for sale. My time is not for sale.
So, and Bill says
back from that person after 4 years of being very loyal to them. And, that was kind of an eye-opener for me. I'm not going to say that all celebrities are like that or all high-profile clients are like that, because I just had a regular client in on my books, before I sold my salon, who was very, very wealthy. And the same kind of thing happened,
Right.
I want you
Yeah.
to come this girl's weekend. I'll pay you to come for the whole weekend to do everyone's hair. Well, if I'm going on a girl's weekend, I'm going to go on a girl's weekend with my friends, not with my client and her people to be a servant. Sorry, not interested.
Not sorry. But, Bill
Sorry, not interested.
Bill says you have to set yourself goals, and that is so true. So, which brings me to the next question is how can we develop a really good education, inspiring education system in the salon today that will inspire? What does it take a young cosmetologist right after the school to get inspired and look for an inspiration so they can be successful?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that these are all really important points. I know that I had written down a few notes here, about education and getting an education program together. And quite honestly, I think structure, and setting up systems for yourself. I'm just reviewing my notes. So when you're wanting to build a program, whether it's for you in a studio or I call them mega salons, which I feel are really making a comeback. So with that said, I think you need systems and you need structure. Think about when you're raising children, or even, this is kind of an analogy that people sometimes don't, but you've got a new puppy that you have to train, okay? Structure and systems and consistency. This is what is going to be the most productive for you as an individual to retain the information, learn the information and all that. I think to be continuously motivated and inspired is so important. And this can go back to what you see as a perfect week, a perfect month. Add that into that month, whether it's listening to some meditation, maybe watching podcasts and listening to podcasts. That could be something you do daily. That could be something you only do on Sunday morning. Maybe you do it on your walk that you do 3 or 4 times a week. But I do think that it's so important that we continue our education, we continue to grow, we continue to be motivated as well as inspired. And again, I think that structure and that consistency in that systematic regimen is what is really the most productive.
And so when a stylist begins their career and their journey, do you feel that it's so valuable for a salon to offer a consistent, structured education system for them? And what would that look like today? Since
I really feel that mentorship is key. Yeah. So you're looking for mentorship, and you know what, that can look very different for different people, because finding a mentor doesn't necessarily mean you're new to the industry and you have no experience, and you're wanting to find that that way of becoming successful, that quick express train to success. It could also be somebody who is an industry veteran who has gotten so complacent and so involved in that lifestyle and that pressure of the clients they have and all of that they're looking to navigate and move into something completely different. Finding this new young millennial stylist could be even a great mentor for them, because they look at things differently than we did. Their way of thinking can be quite different. And sometimes just having a different perspective that you can learn from can also really help you to put yourself into that situation. It's amazing to me if a stylist comes and says, hey, I'm going to take a month off. Never in my career have I ever considered taking a month off, and I just had 3. So
yeah. It's true. I mean, if you have a stylist approach to you and says, I would love to book a trip to Italy for 1 month. I would like to go. How can you make that happen? How can you answer a question like this? Can the salon afford having a stylist go for a month? I mean, how do you really support something like this? Because if it was up to you, you would want to go for a month, right? And so,
yeah, I'll be honest, something like that motivates me and inspires me, because like I said, the kind of business perspective I was raised on and had for so many years in the career was just that work, 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 work. You know, take a few days off, regenerate, and get right back on it. So then you realize the importance of it. And just knowing, you know, to me, it would be like, okay, here's the deal. You need to find somebody that you're willing to refer to your clients. They need to find 1 or 2 people in the salon that they're willing to refer their clients to. The last thing you want is them out wandering around looking for someone else because they're
in a different salon, right?
Exactly. So to me, part of the plan would be, and I have these systems in place, is that they refer other stylists within the salon. They've reviewed the clients that perhaps might be calling. They've said it to the clients, if you need anything while I'm away, please call and ask for so-and-so or talk to the owner, right, for a recommendation. And they have to be willing to know upon their return that client may not return to their chair, that may stay in the other chair. And everyone has to be okay with that. Because if they're willing to walk away.
Not worry about it. And not worry about it. So here's the thing
about it. You keep it all in the family. There's a great communication about it. And it can all be structured. No different than when someone leaves to have a baby. I mean, I've had numerous stylists that, you know, pregnant and they have to leave and they leave to have their child, and they deserve to have adequate time at home with their child and come back when they're comfortable with that separation of returning to work. But I want them to know that they can come back and they can pick up where they left off. And perhaps it would even be part-time. So those clients, if 25% of their clients stay in someone else's chair, then it's going to be a perfect scenario for them, isn't it? Because they're going to have just the right amount to cut back the hours. There's no pressure and stress. Who do I say yes to? Who do I say no to? So I think, you know, mentorship is really it. Communication is a big one as well.
That's what it is. And I agree. And Michelle, thank you so much for putting the effort and writing this specific comment. But, you know, here's the thing. The thing is, you got to figure out what do you really want? Have clarity. Have clarity of what do you really want? Do you want to work a certain amount of hours? Do you want to go away 3 weeks out of the year?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are inspired by 24/7 work. Like, I will never stop working. Somebody, our financial advisor asked me, Ronit, when do you want to retire? I said, never, when I'm dead. So, you know, everybody has its own. But here's the thing. If you wanted to work by design, if you wanted to build a company by design, you have to understand that if you're going to be in a private parlor or in a suite, that if you just don't want to have the responsibility of building a team, that you are an individual. And when you're an individual, you have to take consideration that there's going to be time that you're going to be sick. There's going to be time that you're going to be away. There's going to be, because that's what you want. It's not because you have to. So budget for it and make sure that you have that under consideration. But if you're in a salon, or you're building a salon, if your number one goal is to have a culture of traveling, then you have to hire people that they all want the same thing, that they all want the same perfect week that you want.
Yeah, and they're also willing, like you said, they're also willing to work as a team to make that happen. Because if you're gone 3 weeks and I'm gone 3 weeks and it's a different 3 weeks, we could build that relationship with us and our clients so that they understand that when I'm away, if it doesn't work out for you to book in, because the other aspect is you work your butt off the week before you leave and you work your butt off the week you return. And there again, where is the balance?
No balance.
Again, where is that perfect week? Because now you've just thrown yourself into this miserable situation that you're going to be working so much that you're going to be so stressed that you're going to need another 3 weeks off.
Right. It's so true. It's so true. Now, being a professional that has done all the ways, you know, you've been traveling a lot, you own a salon, you were traveling on your salon and all of that. I'd love to hear how was it to work with on sets and create your career. What did it took you to get there? But more than anything, who's your favorite celebrity that you worked with?
Wow. So it's interesting because, again, you know, if you would have asked me like 20 years ago when I'd already been in the business for 18 years, oh my gosh.
Couldn't tell.
And like doing the math, and I'm like, no, that's not right. Actually, my 40-year class reunion from high school was about 3 weeks ago. We canceled it, of course, and rescheduled it for next year. But I was like, 40-year class reunion? What? No way. But anyway, so for me, it kind of all happened organically in a way, because, which is what a lot of times happens to me in my career. And I know that sounds silly to say, but it's almost like when I start feeling like I need that change and I need this like dramatic, comes back to the military lifestyle of like just moving from California to Florida to Connecticut to Idaho to that to here to back to there and all of that, right? UK, Germany, all the places. So I feel like I get that itch, and I can't always pick up my household and move. So it comes down to me having to kind of say like, okay, I need something dramatic. And so
Yes.
as a salon owner, I was getting bored. I was in a small town. The salon was stable. It was running like a well-oiled machine, all the structures in place, all the policies and systems working. I started to get bored, and I was suddenly faced with like, now what? So I went to LA and I took a course, and it was a great course. It was with Susan.
What course was it?
It was called Onset Academy with Susan Lipson. And I know she's in the process right now of restructuring that and bringing back a revised edition. So it should be good. And I'll put it up when I have details. But I went to her course. It was 4 days. It was a big investment. I think it was $3,800. Plus I had a flight. Plus I had a hotel for 4 nights in LA. And I was living in Georgia at the time. So big investment, but I knew I needed something. I needed that higher education. I needed something to just really jumpstart me. So long story short, I made a lot of connections. Susan, at her class, she had somebody there helping her and co-teaching and assisting in the class named Jerry Baker. And between them, I ended up getting to be a key. Jerry got me a key position on a film. It was a non-union film that flipped to union. She called me up and she said, if you want to do this, I want to bring you on. You got to sign the contract now. You've got a few hours to talk this over, make your plans. And I'm thinking, I have a salon. I had like 30 employees at the time, 3 teenagers. Thank God my husband was on shore duty and not out on the submarine.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge.
And I was like, I've got to be gone for like 7 weeks. And I was going to return home 3 days before my daughter's graduation. So I had to think about it, but then I thought, you know what? This is opportunity knocking. You know what I mean? I got to figure this out. So between my husband and I, we said, do it. Let's go. I went. It all happened. It was amazing. Working on set, it's very different. It's got a lot of commonalities to being in the salon, because suddenly what is your clients that are dictating what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and maneuvering your book. You've now got producers, directors, actors, scenes, different days, different nights, different. You're getting up at the sunrise, or you're going home in the middle of the night. It just depends on the day that what's filming. And so that to me the energy was high. Yeah. It was a huge adventure, and it was amazing. So I get back, I go back to work in the salon. Everything's great. I'm feeling good for a while. And then my husband, who at the time was about to retire from the Navy, only 40, what was he, 43 when he retired, 44, 43. So of course he wasn't retiring to not work. He was just retiring from the military career. So we chose, at that time, we were on the fence. Are we going to sell the salon? Are we going to downsize? It was a recession. There was a lot going on, different things. I didn't want to be locked into that mega salon anymore with all those responsibilities, even though it was running smooth, very profitable. We made the choice that we were both ready for a change. Our girls were eager to move. My son had already gone in the Navy. He overlapped with his dad by 3 months. They were both active duty. And so I ended up moving then to LA. And once I moved to LA, between those two ladies I had mentioned, I made other connections. I took a different career. I went in for Goldwell and opened their academy in Santa Monica. I don't know if you knew that, Ronit.
Yeah, of course.
So I opened their academy in Santa Monica, and the salon staff did all of that. And while I was there, I did a program for the union hairdressers, which was all coordinated through the union and through the academy. And so we saw hundreds of union hairdressers came to a seminar that I put on with a few other Goldwell artists. And from there, it just kind of catapulted because the class was all about corrective color. We had someone cutting, coloring, and then we went into the finishing. We wanted the union hairdressers to have the product in their hand. We wanted to see it, for them to see it firsthand, touch it, feel it, try it, knowing that would be like, ooh, you know. And from there, I made a lot of relationships because the seminar was a lot of corrective color, showing them just before and after. It impressed a lot of people.
It is impressive, but what I hear from it, and I want to pull that out, is, you know, you gotta go where your heart is telling you. Maybe you gotta go with a change. You first of all, you have to adapt to things.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that you've been you learn how to adapt because you moved so many times in your life.
Right.
So change for you is almost second nature, and you actually thrive on change. You adapt well, but at the same time, I think what made it successful for you is the fact that you develop very good relationships, and the fact that when you go into something, you go all in.
Right.
You made a quick decision, and that's a tough decision.
Yeah.
I'm okay with letting go the salon. It's a great pivot to move to something different. I want to move into try something different. You took a risk. It could have gone either way, right? Michelle, what are you saying? I love being in the salon 2 to 3 days during Fashion Week.
It's
traveling and for expos and but you can create that. You can create that with Michelle.
And at the end of the day, I chose not to stay in that career. I chose to stick with education. And I had to make a decision because I couldn't be working on a television show that was filming 3 months at a time and then jump into education for a couple months. I juggled that for about a year, and I realized I have to make a decision here. What is that decision going to be? What fulfills me the most? And it was education. Back to Joico I went, and then I became more of a consultant. So a lot of the work that I've done for film has been as a color consultant. It's been for character makeover work. So in other words, when Scarlett, needed to be this copper that they were all envisioning, Jerry was her personal, and Jerry called me and said, hey, I'm going to design this wig, the cutting and the shape and the style and how that's all going to look, but I need an expert colorist to get to nail this color so that everyone's happy with the color. And so that's what we did. We partnered up, and I did a few looks for her with Scarlett, I think 4. And, she continued to refer people to me, as well as several other department heads, because once you make your name in that niche, I started to develop relationships with those people.
Yes.
They knew they could trust me. And, there's a lot of pressure. You're coloring a wig that's worth anywhere from $5,000 to even up to $10,000. I've colored a wig of Michelle Pfeiffer for Ant-Man. It was almost $10,000. It was a platinum lace front custom made wig, and the wig maker is phenomenal that makes it.
Yeah.
It often needs that little personal tweaking and that little extra color change to keep it very, very unique and natural. What really was the turning point for me was Hunger Games, because I did go on set. I did work for 5 months with Linda Flowers. I did all the color making.
Amazing. She is amazing. I mean,
and she's amazing, and she got me a colorist credit, which was so huge. She kept the promise. She told me that would happen and it would be a game changer, and she kept that promise to me, and it proved to be big. But that also was when I was away from home again for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I wasn't educating. I left one weekend. I flew on a red eye. I went to Connecticut. I did a quick class for Lindsay. And then I quick got on a red eye, went back in time for us to pick up filming, on that Tuesday morning. And lucky for me, the schedule had me off Sunday, Monday. But I realized then that that's when I needed to make the decision. And for me, it was the education part was more fulfilling. And so it was good. And I've worked with a lot of amazing celebrities, and I've created a lot of great looks that I'm really proud of. Some I've received credit for, others I haven't, but I know I did it, and I've got the production to prove it. So
the work is beautiful. It's absolutely
to win. Yeah.
But I think it is. Michelle says there's a lot of pressure there. So you learn how to work within pressure. And it sounds like in our industry, it's always like ba 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 ba, and it's always reactionary. And it's like, it's exciting, but at the same time, you can move to a burnout model so quickly. So how do you avoid that? How do you avoid? So I had a conversation today with a salon member who confided me that they feel that, and this is important, that confided me that they're feeling like they're done. They don't want to do this anymore. They really don't want to go back. They have been successful, but they feel like they have been fighting for years to be successful. And for them to be successful, their dream was that they will get to the point where the salon is running for them instead of them running for the salon. So I question each and one of the listeners out there. And I want to bring something so important, because as you get older, you come to your finest moment, and you start thinking yourself, what is the most important thing in your life, right? Mm-hmm. And right now we're in a different situation. We have to grind. We have to push through. We have to keep going in order to get to the other side. However, how you do it and how smart you're taking care of yourself is really important. So to avoid the burnout model, to avoid it, so you can make good decisions, because decisions could be very reactionary. I'm too tired. I'm not very successful. This person is left. Now I'm here. Should I hire another person? That person is gone again. Or should I take another job? Should I squeeze somebody? And does this all sound familiar to everybody? But when you get to that mindset, I want you guys all to know you don't have to be a burnout model, because it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's not consistent, and you can't grow from it.
Right.
So what are the things that you have done to elevate, and not to because you've been a salon owner, you know how it is, but also you've taken upon yourself big projects that are very stressful. Right. Now, looking back, redesigning and reimagining your life, what do you do to avoid burnout?
Yeah, and I mean, burnout's an awful thing. And trust me, I'm going to be really open and transparent right now. I've had moments, trust me, where I've had complete meltdowns, and my family has been like, what the hell? Calm down, because they're not used to me being that person, you know? And it hits me that hard. And when all of this first started, and trip after trip, cancel, and it all fell down on me like this, my career will never be the same. And I worked so hard to get to what I thought was my dream place, right? I'm going to India, and I'm traveling the world, and, you know, this and that. I'm motivating teams. I'm building teams. I'm, you know, whatever. And it happens. And what I realized at that point is, before I get there, and in this case, it was out of my control. Mm-hmm. In a lot of cases, it's in our control, because we allow it to happen. So when I start getting in that place that I'm like, you know what, this isn't working, I'm burned out, that's when I have to re-challenge myself. And I have to take myself somewhere uncomfortable. And, you know, it could mean completely restructuring your salon, which I did more than once in the 10 years of being a salon owner. I had to sit down with my staff and say, look, guys, we've come to a point that I have to tack on a service charge for chemical services, or we're doing this or we're doing that. I always found a way, though, to make it work for them as well. Perhaps the commission on the retail sales could go up. So in other words, sell more retail, I'll give you more commission, because that's making a profit. You know, but this is what we're going to have to do. So I think that sometimes it's just putting yourself in that uncomfortable position where you really have to be transparent, journal, like maybe journal for a week or two, and just figure out like what's really going on up there and what's missing. And, you know, and it's sad to think like that was her goal, her dream was to do that, and now it hasn't happened. But maybe maybe even having a smaller team, like what I was thinking, like I said, before I sold the salon, I was thinking maybe I just downsize. I take my top producers, I trim what I call trim the fat, right? Yeah. And I take the top producers, the people who think in my philosophy, that are most on board with my thoughts and thinking and aspirations. What's important, who shares my perfect week, that kind of thing, and go there. And sometimes that means you might have to relocate. You might have to, you know, change your overhead. You know, who knows? But I do think that it's change. Change has to happen. If you don't change and you don't grow, then you stay the same and you just wilt. So it's that constant adventure.
I love that. So I think if we can share it with everybody here, is journal every day. Journal every day. And write down what is your perfect week that you want it to be, and work towards it. Pick up your goals and set them up.
Yes.
If I can say, lower the amount of project that you're working on. So instead of scheduling you to like this, let's give you an example. 6:30 to 7:30, I'm waking up, taking a shower, taking the dogs out, doing something with the kids. 7:30 to 8:30, I am eating breakfast, getting ready. 9:30 to 10:30, I'm arriving to work. 10:30 till 5, I'm working. 5:30 to 6. Do you see that? It's just not a weaning over there. It cannot happen. So what if you lower the amount by half? Let's start with a third. It's like a diet. Trim the fat of what you do during the day, and focus on me time, because without me time, there's nobody else, right? So that's like
you need it.
Now, you're working right now. You're representing 2 brands. I know you have a couple of classes coming up.
Yes.
What are you focusing right now on education with Olivia Garden and with Joico?
So the big one with Olivia Garden is their education department is fairly new. So it's still in the building and nurturing process. We have a wonderful team. Michelle, who's on, is part of our team from the beginning. So the team was started building. So what we're looking at now is ways that we're going to keep the team motivated. And as things loosen up and change a little, the team will grow. I've spent time, luckily, all over the world. You know, they're distributed in 100 countries. So we've built teams in several areas that now have their own support and their own education team. So if I can never fly to India again, which I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, they have a team of educators there now that can continue to grow and educate. They've been given those tools and resources. And I love that. So they're continuously building their education globally from a global perspective. So it's keeping the teams motivated and all of that. Launching new products and things like that. We have our new essentials kit, so we have something new to talk about with that. As far as
are you talking about the essential disposable?
Yes. So they're called Salon Essentials. It's a kit. It has masks, shields, gloves, chair covers, disposable capes, and then these really cool bags. I'm going to show you a bag real quick.
That's great. And while you're doing that, I'm going to acknowledge.
So this is what the bags look like. So they come in a box of 50, and this could be our new norm. You know, in some countries, this is something they're already doing. So this you can see it has a towel, and this would be my styling kit. So it has my brushes as well that I'll be doing the blow dry with. So if somebody were to come in for a blow dry, I could have this bag ready to go for that. I have another one that I have set for my color. So it has a back combing brush. It has the styler brush for balayage. It has the eye blend brush for combing through your masks and your toners, and then my foiling comb and clips. So if I was going to be just doing the highlight, boom, I could pull this out.
I love it. This is such an efficient way of
sanitizing. And then the third bag is a smaller size, and I have that for cutting. So I have clips, comb, and my shears. So once it comes out of the wet or dry sanitizer, it goes into the bag. So it's amazing because it's time saving. Those can all be saved for and built up so that, you know, obviously
very efficient.
You don't have multiples, but the great part is the bags can open. You can put the shears in. You can already have your comb and clips, and multiple combs. You have multiple clips already in there, ready to go. So it's very time saving, and I love that about it. And that's another thing with Olivia Garden. I have to say props because I wouldn't support a brand that I didn't believe in. And one of the things about this company is they always are thinking about the stylist. How they can make our life in the salon easier and better. So it's really great. And they're constantly coming out with new tools. We just released the titanium flat iron. They just released the OG brush, which the head comes out of it. And pops back in. So these are amazing. Also, especially, they launched before COVID, but they actually have come in quite handy. So the handle.
So you can put it in the barber.
This
Yes.
you can spray this and wipe it down. This can go in the barber side, and you can see on this side it won't.
Amazing. Yeah.
Through, and then it just snaps right back in. So you know, brushes like this say they're airtight, but if you ever took it apart, you'd be disgusted by what's actually growing inside. That's supposed to be disinfected. So this is a great tool as well.
I love that. So for everybody who's watching it, these are really great tools. We're going to have all the information in our links for you. And Bill, you're right. It's a great flow. We need the flow. We need to be more efficient and move on that one. But I know, Sherry, you're, you know, how great of an educator you are, how passionate about you do. I personally learn from you and, you know, experience how great you do hair sets and how you build styling habits. But right now, what you have been working with both brands, Joico and and we carry Joico for years, and I have the biggest love and appreciation for this company.
Yes.
You know, and so I know that you're working with brands on how to develop their teams, how to develop an education system within their companies. And so I know you're also are launching a whole new program for anybody out there. I'd love for you to share that with everybody there, because I think that's amazing. I wish I had that opportunity and Zoom was there when I ran my education system.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I just want to say, you know, the shout out to Joico would be like, I've been loyal to them for 22 years because, again, as a brand, they continue to evolve. They're always, again, for the stylists, they, you know, their newest innovative thing is the Defy Damage, which is a game-changing product, hands down, super easy to work with and all of that. And I'm continuing to do lives. I have a live with them on July 17th and again, August 17th. So I'm doing monthly education with them as well. And I've had the opportunity to be a trainer and train the trainer. And it makes you understand the importance of building that team and that culture and to be a part of it. So I'm really excited to announce that I am going to be launching an online education system of my own as well. It's going to be, the first series is all about color. It's an 8-part series, so it's 8 weeks, once a week. It's an hour of technical, 30 minutes of Q&A. And it's going to cover everything. I'm calling it like the 360 color program because it's a 360-degree program. And it consists of these technical as well as different aspects of how you can make your work in the salon much more efficient and effective. So it's meant to empower, enhance, and also embrace new ways of doing things effectively. So I have toning that's 2 parts, a 2-part toning class, one focused on cool, one focused on warm. I have a balancing act, which I love that because what this is going to do is it's going to be it's quick for corrective color solutions that you just need a quick fix. It's going to be that beautiful, refreshing, and balance and harmony for the color from scalp to ends. The Go and Glow is Express. It's called Go Glow Express. And that is, you know, a lot of face framing and contouring and those quick services that you can do in a flash without adding extra time on.
Yeah.
The other one would be my Lift and Glow, which I first developed this for dimensional gray coverage and gray formulation because I hear a lot of people saying, you know, gray coverage is your bread and butter. That is where, you know, those loyal clients come in, but you think that it's boring. It's boring. Well, you're making it boring because I'm gray coverage and I don't consider myself boring. So I think like getting that jump start on.
Yeah, it's about learning how to use it correctly and how to apply it in different ways.
And let's face it, you know what used to be your gray coverage clients when I came out of school is no longer the case. We have evolved, you know, we're a different person now. that age category.
Well, I like to offer to everybody here is like you have to think differently. You have to think within, I would like to have premium tickets, not a typical color application,
Sure.
or a premium tickets like all of you. What kind of a client
It's like a backstage
you want to
pass.
have?
It's like a backstage pass at a concert.
Exactly, like you wanna sit at the end of the field or the beginning of the field.
Right.
It's like what do you want actually as a client? So so this is a great program. I think now you're going to do it through Zoom once a week. That everybody's going to be a demonstration, and everybody does it on their mannequins and a Q&A form.
Yeah, I feel like with an hour of technical and the way it'll be sectioned and previewed, it could be a look and learn situation as well. So it doesn't have to be that everyone's got their mannequin and they're doing it hands-on. That's certainly an option. And I think it's good to have both options because sometimes people need to just see it and hear it, wrap their head around it, and then go back to doing it. Take their notes, view the video, and whatever. Other people can just jump in and almost shadow you and follow you through. So everyone learns a little differently. So the great part about that is it can be customized and tailored to your needs for sure. And then 30 minutes of Q&A to answer all the questions.
That's awesome. So while you're doing this, just to set up the precedents for everything, because we're just about 12 o'clock right here. We've been an hour on. See how quick that goes?
It goes so fast.
Yeah, it does. But it's a great value these days. We don't know how long we were not going to be traveling and what. I mean, we need to keep inspiring people, and we need to build a really great, solid education for the new talents that come along, and just for anybody who needs to do things differently, thinking with high prices. So you're going to be talking to them about how to charge high prices, how not to be afraid of asking prices, and how to be efficient for your colors. So for everybody, this is a great value. Now you're going to be doing a beta, kind of like Bill, kind of like what Sona did. You're going to do a beta. You're going to try it out. I know you were going to, usually you're offering for in a class 30 people.
Yes.
But this time, what are you going to do this for the beta?
It's 20 people, the first 20 people. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to reach out to you, they can DM you or email you or go to Facebook, Instagram.
Right.
And for the first, how many are you going to do right now?
So it's a series of 8. And
right.
So the first 20 people get it for the price of the beta, price.
Yeah.
So at $199, and then. I want to start out with a small group. I want to make sure it's doable and it's one-on-one and everyone gets the attention. And then we're going to grow. I've got already, the next class is set up. I want to roll it out so that we can have this as a continuous offering. So if you've already taken it, but there's a whole group of new people that want to come in and take this 360 technical class, and I'm calling it that because, again, it's a very well-rounded series. You're going to cover everything from blonding, toning, corrective color, and, great coverage and dimension. So it's pretty much every salon scenario. So me on Instagram or Facebook, and then I'll make sure that I get back in touch with you. That will hold your spot. The first 20 people that get in touch with me, that will hold your spot. And then we'll go through all of the more details and the payment and all of that.
That's amazing. That's great. So again, this is a raw program that Sherry is launching it. She will promote it in her both of her social. For anybody who thinks this is great, I will tell you there are great artists out there. We have plenty of amazing talent. I love working with Sherry. She's brilliant, and she will develop confidence within you to train your trainer. So you could have the freedom to do the things that you want to do and grow your business. Yeah. So good. The last thing is let's just say goodbye to everybody right now. But I just want you, if you can share with us, if there was one thing that you have learned for the past 3 months that can give everybody here a big hug of inspiration. what is one thing that we can do to keep us going and moving forward?
I say, embrace your industry. There's so much out there, and maybe it's learning a new skill. There's times when maybe you wanted to learn how to do extensions, but you never had the time to actually take a course. There's so much offered out there. Making wigs, styling hair, doing updos, braiding, all the things that you maybe wanted to do and you didn't. It's amazing how just learning a new skill or perfecting a new skill, how inspiring that could be for you, in your process. Do something that you never had time to do before, that within your industry, that'll keep you motivated. Maybe it's a business class. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah.
Bill, you're right. You need a lot of patience. Learning new trades, coping, adapting needs a lot of patience. So be good to yourself. Journal every morning. Make sure that you're doing your fear list, which we're going to talk about fear list next time. But I want you guys to have a fantastic week. I can't wait to share with you our new guest next week, which is Aldous Collins. He is a singer. He has an amazing band. He's going to share his talent with us, stories, major inspiration in how philanthropy completely changes life, and the impact of philanthropy changes community, built raving fans. We're going to go over it. And so thank you for everybody for coming. I love you guys. Enjoy this week. Thank you for Bill for showing up. Michelle, Krista, see you guys later.
Lindsay. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.
Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you, America's Beauty Show. Thank you.